art is a beautiful thing. It's like you can express yourself.
It saves lives, as Jane Golden always says.
I think art is kind of like universal. No matter where you go, you see art.
I think that we connect with the art in a way that's very powerful. And I think it's the experience we have when we're in a museum and why we put art on our walls in our office or in our home, right? Because it's something about the work that's so inspiring.
It moves us, it touches us very deeply in our soul. And I think we need to be reminded of that in the fast-paced life that we all live. We need to take a moment out to reflect, and we also need beauty. The spaces that we inhabit, whether they're indoors or outdoors, need to have beauty in order to inspire us, to make us feel valuable and valued.
Art does not have to be something that we put over there, something that is in some elitist thing that goes on, but we're not really sure. Art should just be part of our life. I was hired by former Mayor Wilson Goode in 1984, and I actually can't take the credit for anti-graffiti. I give so much credit to Wilson Goode and Tim Spencer, because Wilson Goode, first of all, he was our first African-American mayor in the city, and that was incredibly exciting. And he made a campaign promise that he was going to reduce graffiti. And graffiti at the time was all over Philadelphia. It was like a social epidemic. And he assured citizens that he was going to remove graffiti not just through traditional ways, but he was going to start this anti-graffiti network where he was going to work with kids who were writing on walls to try to eliminate graffiti. And he was really cognizant of the fact that many of the graffiti writers loved art. And I had moved back east from California, where I'd gone to college, and I'd worked in LA for a number of years, and I had fallen in love with mural painting. And so when I read about this anti-graffiti network and the fact that Wilson Goode was eager to start an art component, I sent my resume to his office, and I ended up getting hired by Tim Spencer to run this small art program. And I think what people underestimated was the love of art expressed by the graffiti writers. I mean, there were hundreds of kids around the city who were like frustrated artists. And so I think I tapped into a chord of real creativity and potential. And we were able to marshal this talent into a small mural program for the Anti-Graffiti Network. And that's really how we got our start. We were working on a wing and a prayer with house paint and big brushes, and it was the graffiti writers and me. When we were painting stories of people's lives, it was as inspiring as a painting that you could find in the Met. The quality wasn't great, but we were a spirited group, and people started to believe in the potential of their community because suddenly what they were thinking was on this wall. And people said in the beginning, you know what? Things are either done to us or not done. The only visual stimulation we have in this neighborhood are billboards advertising alcohol and tobacco. Our kids are never going to have beauty. And we were like, wait a minute, that can change. And so the murals went up, and it was magical, and they became a catalyst for positive social change. And then when we became Mural Arts, we were undaunted. We went 100 miles an hour to where we are today, delivering art as a social service in every community of the city and making sure young people across Philadelphia have access to incredible art education programs. We are looking at our work as a form of social practice, which means that the journey to create the art is as important as the object itself, and what happens afterwards has equal value. It means we're doing big, bold, audacious projects in different parts of the city that's going to be very unexpected.
Arts is one of those organizations that does mostly community art. And the difference, what it comes down to is, for public art, it looks the same in the end, except the artist is bringing their vision, their agenda, their everything to this public space, and then everyone has to look at it because it's public. With community art, the artist goes in and then works with the community. And so it's required for all of our permanent projects that we have a few community meetings where we're meeting with the people who own the building, who live across the street, who live in the block, in the neighborhood. Everyone's invited to have a big dialogue with the artist. A really successful project is when the community brings their perspective to the artist and broadens the artist's perspective, and together they're able to make something better than either one of them would ever been able to come up with on their own. What's really cool about that process of having the community not only come up with the concept and the theme, but having the community be a part of the painting is that they take ownership in it.
I mean, I love the city and everything, but crime and all that gotta stop. Yeah, it really need to stop. People just need to just stop.
We do a lot of programs for to deal with violence, to deal with the issue of race, the issues of poverty, all the issues that people struggle with. These struggles sometimes do lead to violence.
It's a matter of respect. There's a whole kind of, I think, breakdown in some neighborhoods where you don't have older people telling the younger people, you know, hey, it's not a good thing to do this. You have the availability of weapons. It's so easy to have a gun. Everybody has a gun. And there's not a lot of public outrage. We have the murders at Sandy Hook. We had the World Trade Center. There was all kinds of outrage. But there's no outrage. So I think those combination of things will really lead to a real breakdown.
We do very intentional programs with Graterford Prison, with the prisons within Philadelphia, and also people who are on parole, and do an almost informal art therapy.
A lot of them have no way to reach out to the community. You might get family visits, but some of the guys that have been there a long time, the families can't come up or they are passed away, so they're not really connected with community. So it really gives the men a way to give back to community. A lot of the men we work with are really keen on letting people know that hurting other people and making those decisions can ruin your whole life, and they want to let people know that, hey, we're locked up, we did something really bad, but we also have this side to us. So it really gives them that sense of giving back.
I was a juvenile, and I was tried as an adult, and they had this program for the juveniles, and they came in and painted a mural, and I participated, and they liked my work.
Our reentry program is super successful. We have a 12% recidivism rate. People are working with us and not getting into trouble. The national average is 66%. So here's an art program delivering social services in a way that's really impactful.
This made me want to be better, like just a whole better person, like just working with some great people that's really doing things like positive things for the city. Like this just made me like open my eyes, like wow.
I direct a department at Mural Arts that provides art education programming for young people across the city of Philadelphia. We provide art education classes out of school for youth ages 10 to 22 at 16 sites across the city. So I manage the staff and the teaching artists that provide that programming. People in our program are exposed to the mural making process and also youth development through leadership work. But we also have general arts education classes that we provide students that help them build their art skills, put together a portfolio for college or career. And we also give them opportunities for internships and job opportunities.
Art education is extremely important for children because it allows them to use their creativity, whereas in a lot of the other classes right now, especially math and English and everything, it's very regimented. 1 + 1 is 2. But where in art, they think on a higher level. They think more critically when it comes to problem solving.
I think a big one is resilience. I think the artistic process teaches you a lot about trial and error, testing something out, and if it doesn't work, you learn a lot more than if it did work. So resilience, but also team building. A lot of the mural making process and the work that we do at Mural Arts relies on collaboration. And I think that's a really good skill for young people to learn and take with them into college and career.
I hope they remember the feeling of satisfaction when they've completed something, when they've created something that is completely their own, where they've taken things from myself, from the art world in general, but have filtered it through themselves and created something unique to themselves.
I think art focuses on the internal changes that everybody goes through and makes you more reflective and mindful of who you are. And I think that just makes you more aware and more concerned about the world around you and other people. And I think if we can get young people to focus on self-love, I think that will be reflected in their interactions with one another. I think what's most valuable about my job is being able to use the arts to inspire young people. But I think we're giving young people a lot of options for how they can use arts to be leaders in their communities, but also just connecting arts to other disciplines that will enhance the kind of employees and individuals that they'll be in the real world.
So during the winter, we slow down a lot. We can't paint outside when there's danger of the paint freezing or with all the rain, it needs to dry before it rains or else it just washes right off the wall. So we do projects indoors during the winter, and it gives me some time to do a creative project to kind of sustain me through the spring, summer, and fall when I'm helping other artists do their creative visions. I got a really great project this year. They're building a new skate park next to the art museum down by the Schuylkill River. It's called Paynes Park. I'm working with some other artists. We're tag teaming it. We're basically making these panels of artwork that are like cut out, that are going on the construction fence. Because right now it's just kind of a hole in the ground, and they wanted to beautify the construction fence and kind of give people an idea that this will be skater friendly. And so the theme of our artwork we're doing for it is the animals of the Wissahickon Fairmount Park area doing the things that the people do in that area. And it's supposed to be fun and very PG, not PG-13, because it's for the people who use the river trail, and there's a lot of families and stuff like that.
Philly is kind of like a hustler city. It's like the city of the underdog, and I think like mural arts, the mural arts program just kind of embodies that underdog spirit of Philadelphia. I think Philly is also a small world where lots of people are interconnected in ways that they couldn't have imagined. It's a very neighborhood-oriented city, and mural arts is very neighborhood-oriented and community-driven. I think Philly will always kind of be a small town in a big city, and I think this kind of grassroots work will always have an impact in that kind of environment.
The murals speak to who the people are who live here. The person who has lived here all their life and will be living with these murals for the next 20 years, it's going to give them a sense of pride in their neighborhood. It'll be their story being heard. It'll be their experiences represented. And for the people who just come in to visit Philly, for a great way of introducing ourselves. You know, the artwork really says who we are. You know, a picture says 1,000 words, and these murals are giant. So they really speak about who we are as Philadelphians.
This is a city that really cares about art, community, young people. I think Philadelphia is at a point right now where the arts and culture scene here is absolutely thriving.